Hello and welcome to the Browns post-game show, postseason style. And how about that? How about that? The Cleveland Browns have done something they haven't done since January 1st of 1995 at home against the New England Patriots when Bill Parcells was coaching New England and Bill Belichick was coaching the Browns. The final that day, 95, 5, 10, what is that? 25 years ago? Browns 20, Patriots 13. Vinny Testaverde with 268 yards passing and a touchdown to Mark Carrier. Leroy Horde, 66 yards rushing and a touchdown to lead the Browns to that win over the Patriots. So 25 years ago, the last time the Browns won a playoff game until tonight, as the Cleveland Browns, and let's put the numbers up on the bottom of the page, as the Cleveland Browns defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-37 in Pittsburgh. So not only do they snap, a 25-year drought winning a postseason game, they snap a 17-game losing streak in Pittsburgh. Most improbable and at the same time impressive wins by a football team that I have seen since I've been covering the NFL since when did I get into it? 86, 87. Unbelievable performance by the Browns tonight. No head coach. No practice until Friday. No Olivier Vernon out with a torn Achilles tendon. He's your second best guy in the sack category with 9. No Pro Bowl left guard, Joe Bitonio. No Pro Bowl starting cornerback in Denzel Ward did not play tonight. And yet the Browns, somehow, some way, as a big underdog, go into Pittsburgh, lead 28-0. And yeah, got a little dicey in that second half, but it was never in doubt. I started singing, "Turn out the lights, the party's over" in the second quarter. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. And I did not have a doubt in my mind, even when the Steelers got it to within 12 or 13, whatever it was. All the Browns had to do really was score one more touchdown, okay, for me in that second half. And I thought Mike Tomlin got out coached by Mike Prefer and Alex Van Pelt. Mike Tomlin, when he doesn't go for 2 points to make it an 11-point game after the one touchdown, and then 4th and 1 when you have all the momentum and he doesn't go. Mike Tomlin, goodbye, see ya, so long. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. It's time for him to go. Nobody's won less with more than Mike Tomlin. Yeah, he's got a Super Bowl, and he'll get a job like that, I'm sure, if he decides to leave the Steelers or the Steelers let him go. But Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, it's time for them to go in a new direction because the Browns are going in a new direction. They are one of the up-and-coming teams, not just in the AFC North, but in all of the AFC and maybe in the National Football League. Hell of a performance today. Seriously, everybody's saying, what do you mean you weren't worried, Roadman? I didn't pull this guy out at all. I wasn't worried. After the first snap of the game, over the head of Roethlisberger and who was it? Carl Joseph falls on it for the touchdown. 7-0, 14-0, 21-0, 28-0. Didn't use him once. Didn't pull him out till right there. That's it. So congratulations to the Cleveland Browns and their fans everywhere for their first playoff win in 25 years. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to react to your comments. Start sending them now on Facebook, on Twitter. We'll get to as many of them as we can. We've got 2 special guests joining us as they have throughout the season. Happy to be up late with these guys. Let's bring in my radio partner first of all from News Talk 1480 WHBC. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m., the Kenny and JT show. JT, look at you with your Brownie elf hat on.
I mean, this is like the first time ever. It's like, what was Christmas? January 10th. That's when it was. I never thought I'd live to see the day where the Browns would go into Pittsburgh and win a playoff game on the road. No head coach, all these backups. I mean, this is one of the reasons you don't bet. When the line came out last week and it started off at 3, I said, okay, maybe there's a chance. Steelers had lost, 4 of their last 5 games. Okay, maybe they're on a downward slant. But when you don't have your coach and you don't have all these players, and you don't have one of your best players in Denzel Ward, and your other best player, Myles Garrett, was even there.
He was being double and triple teamed all night long.
That's the excuse. Okay. Because when they don't perform, you just don't think there's a way to win. When your best players don't perform at the top of their ability, you don't think you can win a game. And it was like, hold on for your dear life at times. But then again, when I don't care if Ben Roethlisberger threw for 900 yards, he threw for over 500 yards, 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers on that team. It was eminent that it was just, man, you're playing against the clock, and that's the hardest opponent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I told you during the week, Ben turns it over in the postseason.
Yeah.
24 interceptions in 21 games. Now it's 28 interceptions in 22 postseason.
I get it, Kenny, but usually in the playoffs, you're playing much better opponents. I'm not taking anything away from the Browns, but when you look at Ben Roethlisberger's numbers, they might be a little bit bad. He's not a bad quarterback. He's going up against a lot better competition.
Right.
Now, maybe that's the case, but he's still got what? Does he have 2 Super Bowls or 1?
He's got two rings. 2
Super Bowl wins. So, I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So it's hard to say anything bad against a future Pro Football Hall of Famer, right?
But
we'll say this. I disagree with you all the time, and I tell you, Mike Tomlin, you want to get rid of him? I say be careful what you wish for. He got out-coached by a guy that's a special teams coach today. And what was he thinking at the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter, when he's got a 4th and 1 and doesn't go for a first? They had their way. The Browns didn't have a first down in the third quarter, maybe 1. And you don't go for a first down?
Yeah, it's time for him to go. It is. All right, let's bring in our other guest tonight here on the Cleveland Browns Game Show, all the way out in Hollywood, California. He's our Secret Service agent from Warehouse 13 and geared up with the Brownies.
Hey.
Eddie Mcclintock. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, Kenny, JT, how you doing?
Hey, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, what the heck you been up to?
We were actually FaceTiming each other down the stretch of 5 minutes. We're texting each other back and forth. I'm like, hey, this will be easier if we just FaceTime. So, I mean, it's always nice to have fans around that you can cheer with and then say, oh, man, that was a terrible play with.
Right. Eddie, take me through the wave of emotions for you today as it starts on the first snap of the game with a touchdown for the Browns.
That's when I knew we had it in the bag. After that first score, that was it. I started doing laundry because I knew that we had the game. I mean, look, we almost lost to their second teamers last week, right? Then we go in today and we whip their first teamers in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I mean, this, to me, whatever happens next week, this is the moment that I'm living. You know, this is the moment that I'm going to remember.
You know what? JT and I always talk about this. Baby steps, right? You got to crawl before you walk before you run before you jump. Well, the Browns, a winning record, that's all you really needed to see from this team this year, knowing that they're making progress. But to go into Pittsburgh undermanned without your head coach and get a win like that, this season is a ginormous success, like you said, regardless of what happens next week. And now you've got the Ravens and the Browns, 2 teams from the AFC North that'll be going on the road as underdogs next week. And how crazy would it be, guys? And I'm just thinking ahead. How crazy would it be, guys, if the Browns played the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl, the old Cleveland team and the new Cleveland team possibly meeting? Now, yeah, Kansas City's a big hurdle. Buffalo's a big hurdle. I'm just, looking at all the different stories.
Dare to dream, Kenny.
Yes.
Anything can happen, man. We've seen it so far in these playoffs anyway. And you go into a Pittsburgh, in a place you hadn't won in 17 years, and you upset a team that's a 6-point favorite. It's unbelievable. I mean, you never thought that would have happened. And like Eddie said, on the first play of the game and you go up 7-0. And by the way, our field goal kicker was killer today, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It was good. Yeah. He didn't miss a net.
Hey, you know who else made a big hit in the game today?
Who's that?
My boy, Zendejo.
You know what? I don't remember even seeing him or thinking about him the entire game. So that's a good sign. It's like when you don't talk about an umpire after the game, that means he did his job. Well, Zendejo must have done his job today, right?
Yeah. As long as you're not cursing him, I guess that's a win.
There was enough cursing to go around. When you let the opposing quarterback throw for 500 yards, you could take your pick, whether it was a cornerback, a linebacker, or whatever. Pass rush wasn't there. Ben had all day long to throw. The difference was he made the mistakes the Browns didn't. Baker Mayfield had a great game. I mean, he threw for 266 yards and how many touchdowns? 3?
3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
No interceptions. That the bottom line in a game like this, you don't turn the ball over in a game like that. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah, that was the key, right, Eddie? I mean, Baker, when he's at his best, since OBJ has been out, what has he done? Not turned the ball over, not forcing it to OBJ, spreading it around. Hooper had a touchdown reception, Landry had a touchdown reception, and Chubb had one today.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Hooper had a kind of a shaky game. I thought he had a couple of really important drops, but when we were talking about the stocks, whether we were going to buy stock. Remember, JT, the last time I think we were on, we each bought four stocks, but I'm up there with Baker now. I'm going to go 10.
10 stocks.
10. I'm going 10 stocks.
You're pushing those chips to the middle.
I mean, I'm crazy,
right?
He had happy feet at times. You know, Pittsburgh played Pittsburgh football. They blitzed them. They stacked the box against them. And at times, especially in that third quarter, the Browns went 3 and out on numerous occasions. And you thought, hey, wait a minute, they're going to mount a comeback. And what kept going through my mind, Kenny, was, oh, no, Kelly Holcomb. You know, a 24-point lead evaporates really fast against a team like that. And especially when you're throwing, for 500 yards and 5 TDs or whatever he had. I mean, come on.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But I tweeted out, JT, Browns fans, don't worry. Dennis Northcutt is not on this team, so you're safe.
You never knew. When you're not running the ball as well as you thought you were going to, in the first quarter, it looked like we're actually giving up. They're down 28-0. The body language on their defense was down. Didn't look like they were going to mount a comeback. But my mind kept going back to that Tennessee game where the Browns had a huge lead and let that team right back into it. And I'm thinking, oh, no, why can anything like this never be easy for a team like that?
But isn't it more enjoyable after the fact? Isn't it? When it's that gut-wrenching and you pull it out?
It is because it's against that team.
Right.
You know what? When you think about it, in preparation for a team that couldn't practice all week long, Baker Mayfield hadn't thrown a pass till Friday, that it was apparent to me that, thank goodness, 2 things. 1, thank goodness I'm not a bettor. Because if you bet a game like this, these are the games where Vegas reels you in and says, okay, wait a minute, it sounds too good to be true. Normally it is, Eddie. And the thing is, the line goes from 3.5 to 6, and you're thinking, that's still not enough. The Steelers should kill this team.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be close, Eddie, and but I figured the Steelers would find a way. I figured it was going to be a 1-score game, and the Steelers would find a way because of everything the Browns had to deal with. And that's why I said it's one of the most improbable yet most impressive wins by a team since I've covered the NFL, Eddie.
I couldn't tell. I'm sorry. I got to interrupt real quick. I couldn't tell who the offensive line was at the end of the game, but I did hear the post-game interview with Baker Mayfield, who said he hit one of the linemen. I don't remember which guard it was, literally moments before the game.
Oh, yeah, Michael Dunn. That was Michael Dunn, who played the NFL snap prior to tonight. Yeah.
Where'd he come from?
I don't know. I don't want to say practice squad because I don't know for sure. So,
I mean, think about it.
For you as a Browns fan, what's this mean to you as a Browns fan, man?
Well, I mean, in the third quarter, I almost started drinking again after 20 years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll take care of that already.
So I mean, look, like I said, I started doing I start fidgeting, I become a tweaker. My friend Zach, Zach Roby goes,
what's up, Zach?
The Browns turn us into tweakers. I was like, shifting around. Look, my son, 15 years old, has never seen the Browns win a playoff game, has never seen the Browns go to the playoffs. I mean, this is what it's all about for me as a fan. It's like when the Cavs won. I mean, it changed everything. It just for those moments, man, and those are moments we'll never forget. Those are moments I'll never forget with my son. And I'll never forget this moment with my son and my
He's
wife.
15. So he's 15. Here's to him not having to wait another 17 years like we did for another win in Pittsburgh. Unbelievable. See, these are things that just shouldn't happen in the NFL. The NFL, they want parity in the NFL. And for the Browns to be a bottom feeder isn't good for that league. This league is better when teams like the Raiders and the Browns are good. Just like in college football. Kenny, we hate to say it, but college football is better when teams like Notre Dame are good. It's not good when they're not good. We don't want to see a Texas A&M win a national championship or anything other than Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, occasionally an LSU in there, maybe a Florida. But we don't want these other teams to win these things. Or it shouldn't be that way. The classic teams that put more regards into their football program should be the ones that win.
Yeah. How about this? And I got to start giving some shout outs to some people out there. Great text I got here from Stephen Moss. He says, Roadman, the Steelers lost to our backups.
That's a great point.
I mean, think about it. The backup play caller, the backup guard, the backup cornerback. I mean,
your wide receivers are backups.
Yeah, that's true. Craig Easterday, Billy Blithestone Jr., Adam Longwell, JT's watching us get a big yes, and it counts. The Marv Albert yes on Browns victory over the Steelers. Let's get some other shout outs here. John Sherwood, my objective view on this game tonight, franchise moment for the Browns, and my hat's off with nothing but respect for Steeler Nation. Steeler Nation going in the opposite direction of Browns Nation. Browns are on the rise. Steelers had their run. Like I said, no coach, in my opinion, in recent history has done less with more than Mike Tomlin. They're trending in the wrong direction.
Do they have more? They don't have a running back, Kenny.
I told you that from the beginning of the season. Worst running game in the league. Now, and they don't have a quarterback for the future either. Ben thinks he's coming back next year. The way he was sitting there at the end of the game, we'll have to see. Mark Chalmers, I can't stress enough how bad this team needs their starting cornerbacks back. The culture is changing to a winning mentality, though. Next week, Denzel Ward a must, right? Hopefully he's, close to being back from the coach.
You don't need him to shut down Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Okay. Derek Fallow. Oh, no, that's Philo. Philo's watching us tonight. What's up, Derek? He says, gray faces. Yeah, how about that, Juju? The Browns is the Browns. Well, they ain't the Browns no more. Not the Browns. Yeah. A lot of people, suffered through all these years. Paul Cray, a buddy of mine here in Medina, celebrating with a bourbon given to me as a Christmas present from my daughter, which I absolutely adore. Stephen Moss, I was Cleveland when Cleveland wasn't cool. Now they are cool, right? Philip Mead, I don't recall Hayward's name being mentioned the whole game. Kudos to the Browns offensive line. How about that, guys? How about the line with Bitonio out? Conklin left for how many snaps? Michael Dunn's in there. Kendall Lamb, not Dale Lamb, our engineer, JT. Kendall Lamb was in there. How about the job they did on that Steelers defensive line and TJ Watt?
Yeah, he still made a couple of nice plays in the backfield, but the difference was Baker was able to manipulate that line and that pass rush when he needed to. That third quarter was terrible, but at the end of it, towards the beginning of the fourth quarter, they mounted the go-ahead and pretty much the nail in the coffin touchdown drive. And that the screen pass that they threw to Chubb was either really – it had a little bit of luck to it, and you need some luck, but it was a great play call. And I've been screaming for some screen passes all night long, and they just wouldn't run them. But then again, I mean, let's think about it. You got Alex Van Pelt, right, calling the plays. You got a guy that's only been an interim head coach in Mike Prefer. So what did you really expect?
But JT and Eddie, maybe they were saving it, thinking the Steelers would forget about the screen. Maybe they had that in their back pocket.
It doesn't matter, Kenny. The bottom line is
when you needed a play to be made.
Normally calls the plays, and they weren't. He wasn't there. He wasn't able to do so. So,
do you guys know what is the rule? Why couldn't Stefanski call the plays from a remote location?
You can thank Ray Farmer for that, from texting from the press box to the sidelines, the former GM of the Browns. They don't want you to have any possible communication with your team because you're watching something on TV. The announcers tell you something because remember this, the announcers before every game, guys, here's what happens with NFL announcers. During the week, they meet with both head coaches. And some head coaches will tell them plays they're going to run in certain situations, trusting the NFL announcers. So if you're at home like Stefanski was in the basement, watching that on TV, and you hear Chris Collinsworth say this or that, then you might be, hey, let me get on the horn, let me call. It's an advantage. So that's why he couldn't have a cell phone, a computer, anything down there, just watching the game on the TV.
By the way, stellar job by Collinsworth. If he wasn't in the booth with his black and yellow pom-poms, I don't know who could have been. All they can do is one more stop and another onside kick and then scoring another 2-point. Come on, man.
What about when, when they were down by whatever, 21 or 28, he's like, well, I think, the Steelers really want to score here. I'm like, really? Really, Chris? Please, tell us more, buddy.
Super Sugar MDC, let's go. He's all fired up. What's up, Super Sugar?
Nice. That's a good win.
One of our bosses. Look at that. Bo Matthews Gutierrez. Everyone share this. Let's have a party. What's up?
Hey, you're not stealing my dog either, by the way, Bo.
What do you mean he's stealing your dog?
Wants to steal Lucy the Wonder Dog. Lucy, here's the reason you win the game. Let me show you something. This is one of the reasons the Browns win the game.
What's that?
Guess who started rooting for the Browns?
Oh, but what if the Browns play the Saints in the Super Bowl? Who's Lucy going to root for?
She likes the Saints. I'm sorry to tell you. She's a Houdat dog. She does.
John Appleby. How about those Steelers, Kenny? Hey, I picked them to win, but I said the Browns would have a chance in this one if what? Ben did what Ben does in the postseason.
How could you not pick them to win the game, Kenny? I mean,
it was logical to pick them with everything that was going on. But I thought and I said this, I was actually on Dennis Maniloff's show today, JT, on 1100 WTAM. So, D-Man, thanks for having me on. And I said, look, after the Browns beat the Steelers last week, before Stefanski came down with COVID, I was going to pick the Browns. JT, how many weeks have I been telling you that the Steelers –
You said they were going to lose out.
Right?
You'd say they were going to lose out.
And this was when they were 11-0, Eddie. I said they're going to go 0-6. Well, I was wrong. They went 1-5 down the stretch and lost to the Browns in the
I thought they got their mojo back when they came back and beat the Colts. Now, the Colts screwed up. Had the Buffalo Bills on the ropes yesterday. Should have won that game. You would have bad coaching. If Blake kicks a field goal and their field goal kicker doesn't doink one, they win that game against a team that arguably could win it all. If there's a team realistically in the AFC that you would give a chance to beat Kansas City, I think it'd be Buffalo.
Yes.
The Colts had them on the rail.
Yeah. So, but I was going to pick the Browns, then COVID hit Stefanski. COVID hit Batonio.
Crazy.
Denzel Ward, you weren't sure if he was coming back. Vernon tore his Achilles, and I'm thinking, well, the Steelers rested their guys. They're going to be healthy. They're experienced. They're going to find a way to eke this one out, win that game, lose next week, and be done, right? But had that not happened, I might have picked the Browns early on because this team, like I said, they were the most overrated 11-0 team in the NFL, maybe in 15, 20 years. And
other than beating the Titans and the Ravens, I don't know, in the Browns, I don't know if there's another team that was 500 above that they beat.
John Appleby, enjoy it, my friend. You're obviously a Browns fan, so enjoy that. Shaka Zulus says, go Brownies. Devin Mayfield is playing like a young Brady. Shaka Zulus. I think that's what it was.
Shaka Khan.
Sounds good, right? Mayfield is playing like a young Brady. Do we go there, or is that a little bit too premature? Pump the brakes a little bit. What do you think, guys?
Well, maybe a shorter Brady.
Okay.
Less tall Brady.
And not as good looking as Tom Brady either. I mean, you see, they put a picture somewhere on social media today of Tom Brady alongside George Blanda at the same age. Blanda looks like 2, and Brady looks like he's 25.
Yeah, well, that's what
the funniest
heater Blanda used to smoke.
Did you see the Tom Brady meme where, and I hate to bring up politics into this thing or what happened last week, but you saw the moron that was in the Capitol building that stole the lectern. Yeah. Have you seen the meme where they superimposed Tom Brady's head and he's running out of the Capitol building with the lectern, but on that logo, it's the Washington football team logo?
Oh, is it really? I didn't see that one. Yeah, there are a lot of memes out there. Our Patrick Nolan just proved the coaching carousel in Cleveland was overrated. They don't need one. It was a group effort tonight, is what I'll say on that. Denise Wachtel Popovich. Woo! Little Ric Flair. She's breaking out the
Love that.
Come on, Eddie. Give me a Ric Flair. Give me your best Ric Flair. Go ahead.
Woo!
JT, give me your best Ric Flair.
I don't do Ric Flair. I'm a
Come
rock
on.
guy. I'm a rock guy all the way. That's why you got the pythons, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the gun show.
That's the
That's
gun.
what a few Miller Lights will do to you.
I'd give some pipes, but the gyms have been closed here for 6 months, so I've got more of a pipe cleaner going.
Yeah, that's terrible, man.
Adam Cerny, who's watched us all season long. Go Brownies. See you next weekend, Roadman. After the Browns game, we'll see. Hopefully they play well next week. Like I said, anything after this is cherry on top.
Playing with house money, dude.
Yeah, that's it, man. Go in next week with nothing to lose, man. You're not supposed to beat the defending Super Bowl champion in there.
Maybe that's one of the reasons they played so well tonight. Or
Maybe, good point.
You had nothing to lose.
Who was chosen player of the game? I'm not sure. I didn't watch the post game, but let's give our player of the game. If you're picking a player of the game tonight, guys, who are you choosing as player of the game? JT, you want to start? Who are you picking on
Sure,
that?
it's easy for me. Ben Roethlisberger. He gave the ball to you more than Baker Mayfield did.
Eddie, how about you?
Coach Pfeiffer.
How about that?
You know, I mean, to outcoach Tomlin, to hang in there, to step up. I mean, it's kind of indicative of this Browns team this year, you know, and especially tonight with what happened with COVID. I'm going to go with Coach.
For me, as I look at this, I'm going Browns O-line. I'm going to give a ball to every that played one snap on the O-line tonight because they did a phenomenal job. As one of the people texted us or tweeted at us or whatever said, you didn't hear Cam Hayward. You didn't hear Stephon Tuitt. No sacks for TJ Watt, who led the league in sacks and is up for Defensive Player of the Year. How about this, guys? It may not have looked like a lot, but they ran for, 130 yards, threw for over 260, right? And no turnovers.
Yeah.
For me, the reason they didn't turn it over, Baker wasn't pressured hardly at all, didn't take a lot of big hits, so didn't fumble or throw a bad ball, right? And the running backs had holes to run through. That drive near the end of the game that put them up 16, yeah, it would have been nice to score a touchdown there, but they chewed up 6 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't need it. Mm-hmm.
That was huge.
Yeah.
So for me, Dustin Gordon,
I have to give the game ball to Baker Mayfield. He throws 34 times for 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, managed the game properly. Remember, he's managing those guys that he's never met before that are on that offensive line. He's making sure people are in the right positions. And, of course, Alex Van Pelt gets a tip of the noggin, too, because, calling those plays is no easy task, especially when you're trying to figure out that Blitzburg defense. Yeah. It's nonstop, man. They just attack. And I'll tell you another thing. One of the greatest calls of the game was the fact when the Browns had it, I believe in the second quarter, when they scored, they're in the red zone, and Pittsburgh throws the house at you. All 4 receivers were open. Because of the fact that Baker was able to read what was going on. He found Austin Hooper on the right side wide open because he let the game come to him. He didn't have happy feet. He knew where he was going. He checked down every receiver possible, found a wide open Austin Hooper. And again, all 4 receivers were open, but he picked the one that was wide open, and it paid off.
All right, how about this one, Quentin Singleton? The Brownies are back. Indeed, they are. First playoff win since Bill Belichick beat Bill Parcells on January 1st, 1995.
Oh, man. That's ridiculous.
Enjoy it.
And then did I hear that this is the first playoff win on the road since 69?
Yeah. You got to go back into the late 60s, yes. How about that? Yeah. Wow. So, wiping out a lot of the, the negatives, right? 17-game losing streak. First playoff win in 25 years, first road playoff win in the 40 years, 50 years, whatever it's been, 60 years, whatever. So, and David R. Shipe, who checks us out every week, complete victory, one of the most complete Browns wins in memory. I agree with that. Guys, they set an NFL record, playoff record with 28 points in the first quarter today. Nobody's ever done that in the history of the game.
Yeah.
28-0 lead. Now, granted, some of those were handed to him, but hey, you still have to score touchdowns other than falling on the ball. And how about James Conner wimping out on that fumble when he could have fell on it like at the 1 or 2 yard line? It's like he didn't want to get hit. And the ball rolls into the end zone. Joseph recovers, touchdown. Let's see here.
That ball takes some funny bounces, Kenny. I mean, it's
not him.
A lot easier said than
done.
done.
Nathaniel,
200-pound lineman. Yeah.
Be honest, Kenny Rodas. I'll do it as John Lucas. He's dropping me the John Lucas last name here. Be honest, Kenny Rodas. You root for when the Steelers play the Browns. It's all about the pigs. When they go head-to-head, I root for the Steelers, okay? And I was tonight. But the Steelers are out of it, then I root for the Cleveland Browns. Oh, you can't do that. You can't be a Browns and a Steelers fan. Yes, because of who you see on the screen with me. My radio partner, JT, my friend Eddie, my Browns friends that have not seen their team go to the Super Bowl in their lifetime. So if the Steelers don't have a chance to get there, I'm rooting for the Browns. So next week against Kansas City and every game after that this year they play in the playoffs, I will be rooting for the Cleveland Browns.
Look, and I'll argue the fact, too, and I'll take this to the grave with me, that you've lived in Northeast Ohio anyway longer than you ever lived in Pittsburgh. Now, most fans normally Most fans normally root for the team that are geographically close to them, and we see that. Occasionally a team like the Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe even the 49ers, but we know the New England Patriots get a bigger fan base because of the fact that you've got front runners and people gravitate towards winners. It's hard to take a kid and say, hey, look, I know you're 8 years old. We want you to root for the worst team in the league, the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody's going to root for that team unless you've got a Joe Burrow on it,
right?
A really cool uniform, and you can win at Madden, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
The case. So how are you going to tell somebody to root for the Browns unless you've had to cover them for the better part of the last 30 years? Kenny's been covering the Browns over 30 years. Something's bound to give. Something rubs off on you. And if for no other reason, the fact that you know more about that team than you know about your favorite team, you're going to eventually root for them. You've got relationships where you're going to root for.
Yeah.
Whether they're coaches, whether they're people in the front office, whether they're just other reporters. It's something that you have in common with them that you don't have in common with those people in Pittsburgh any longer. You, sir, are a Browns fan.
Go Browns. Beat them.
Well played.
But I'm all about it, man. Hey, shock the world from here on. Ohio against the world the rest of the way.
Hey, we've only got 24 hours till that game's over with. So, I mean, it's going to be a rough day.
Yeah. Well, plus, Kenny, you get to see what Browns fans are like, true Browns fans. I mean, you can't help but embrace that,
Yep.
They hang with their team. They're true to their team. Like I was telling the story, one of the first Browns games my dad ever took me to up to Cleveland, it was a winter game, and my dad's Cadillac was stolen out of the parking lot. And, we had to wait for my mom to come pick me up.
Oh, my God.
Drive up from Canton to pick us up. And I got to miss school the next day. So it was perfect. And that's, that's a Browns memory. That's my
terrible when it happened, but a great story to tell.
Yeah.
How about this from George Arrett? The defense played lights out in the first half. That, I believe, was the deciding factor. Yeah, 35-10 at halftime, guys.
Mm-hmm.
35-10 at the half. Now, the Steelers outscored them 27-11 in the second half, but that's okay. Okay? I think it was 27. No, I'm sorry. 27-13. 27-13 in the second half, but 35-10, you held the Steelers in check. To 10 points. So, yeah, as hard as we've been on that defense, and they were shaky in the second half.
Yeah.
For the first half, they did their job.
You make that team one-dimensional. You knew they weren't going to run the ball, whether they were in it or not. They're getting blown out. My question has got to be, what is it with these teams that they can't coach with a big lead or increase the score? Okay, they were aided by some turnovers in that first half, but you still had two really good drives in that first half. Had there not been any turnovers, the score at halftime would have been 14-10 in favor of the Browns. Why don't you turn that around in the second half? I don't understand why at times, and it goes back to the Ohio State-Indiana game, 35-7 halftime. You had a 35-7 lead against Rutgers as well. And for whatever reason, you let these teams back into the game. Now, maybe it's you're playing against the clock. There's no chance for them to win. And if you put together one good drive, that's it. It's kind of like basketball. When a team has to come back and they're down 15, 20 points, it takes all their energy to get back into the game. They don't have enough to get over the hump and win it, but they get back into it. Maybe it's something like that. But, man, as a Browns fan, Eddie, you've known it as long as I have. If there's a way to lose a game, the Browns will find one.
Everybody that I was texting with was like, and so it begins when they started, we were all, my whole text thread went silent. Before that we were like,
come on, man, that wasn't going to happen. This is a different time. This is a different team, a different coach, a different culture. I was not, honestly, and believe me, I don't send out a tweet saying, turn out the lights, the party's over, if I really don't believe it, because you know how you just get lambasted on Twitter. Oh, that tweet aged well. Oh, right. With that prediction, so I'm not sending that thing out till I could see that the Steelers weren't coming. Roethlisberger looked old. He looked slow.
He threw for 500 yards.
But JT, you could see it in the first half. The picks, the pressure was, but he couldn't get out. The key to Ben Roethlisberger in his NFL career was his ability to break tackles, get outside the pocket, throw on the run. He can't do that anymore.
You're Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady, they protected him, well this year. When they did, they won games. When they didn't, he lost games, and he's still playing. And so is Drew Brees. 240.
Give him a running back. You'll be whistling a different tune. Give him a running back.
Well, a new head coach, and I'll be happy. A little booyah, Browns from Denise. Thanks, Denise. We appreciate that. Another one here. I'm so happy from Super Sugar MDC. It's a cool name. I like
Sugar. I like that.
Yeah. Nick Chubb, player of the game, says Quentin Singleton. And let's see here. Let's scroll down. Oh, we got plenty more coming here. Let's see here.
Is that his opinion, or was Nick Chubb the player of the game?
I think that's Quentin's opinion.
Baker Mayfield's player of the game.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield got interviewed on the postgame.
Teddy's feeling pretty good about the Brownies. They're beating KC, he says, next week. I'm rooting for them, Ted. And, of course, we have to hear from Connie. Connie always checks in. And before I even read this, I know she was listening on WHBC because she always turns the TV sound down and HBC up. Unbelievable. Fans have waited so long. Absolutely greatest game considering the many, many setbacks. Jim Donovan was giddy on WHBC. Best announcer for Browns games. On to KC. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Let's see here. Jim Kincaid, what's up, Jim? Wondering why the Steeler first string could not shake hands after the game. So, yeah, that was a bad.
That was poor sportsmanship.
That was bad look, man. They were shocked and stunned, but you still got to get off your ass. And I know COVID, at least little elbow bump or a fist bump or, a tip of the cap. Ben just sat there, I think, looking for him, and Baker was over there. He wasn't planting a flag or anything like he did when he was at Oklahoma, the maturity there for him. So that was a bad look.
It's unfortunate, but it's rampant in the NFL. It happened in the Titans game as well.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that these players, for as much money as they're making, can't act like they're professionals. And it's just, it's a bad sign. And what it does is it affects the youth. It affects all the way down to the high school level. You'll see these kids, and they'll start doing the same things, Kenny.
And they get flagged. Well, when my kid used to play, they want to emulate their heroes.
Sure.
And then they get flagged for it. These little kids get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. They get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct at high school. They get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct in college. And then they get to the highest level of the game, and all bets, all decorum goes out the window. I've never understood it.
I'm with you, Eddie, on that.
Eddie, I got to ask you a question because we never ask you anything about your career when we're talking Browns. But if you could compare this game in the nail biter to an episode of Warehouse 13, what would you compare it to?
Well, interestingly, somebody asked me during the game what artifact we were using that we took from the warehouse for this game, and I said it was Jim Thorpe's cleats.
Oh, nice.
Yep, Chubb had Jim Thorpe's cleats, and it imbued the team with the winning spirit of Jim Thorpe.
There you go.
Did you end up with any of the props from that show? Because you guys had a ton of them.
I may have.
What we got? What we got laying around?
I may have.
One of these days, we'll get them late night or something like that to put something in the background when we look over.
We can watch Warehouse 13. I've got it on Netflix. I can find it. Where else can you find it?
It's on the Peacock, and it's also it's on Amazon Prime, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this. I popped it up before. I'll throw it up here again. Kurt McBride watching from Simi Valley, California, living every minute of this win. Let's go. Steelers heading in wrong direction and should be fun to watch.
Fun, man.
Man. Where's Simi Valley, California at? You have any idea, Eddie?
In the Valley.
Okay.
Nice.
Well
played.
In the valley.
6 years of college. 6 years of college right here.
That is well played. That is so well played. Let's see here. I screenshotted some texts from in the game. I got to read this one. JT, you'll like this one, Eddie. JT, one of our favorite shows now on Netflix. In the great words of Cobra Kai, no mercy.
No mercy.
Well played, Cleveland _sports fans. That was outstanding. John Tellich, our good buddy from Channel 8, John Tellich,
JT,
with a very clever tweet. The NFL has announced the second quarter will be done exclusively on Zoom for the Browns. Well done, right? Everything they had to do all week on Zoom. And maybe the best tweet of the night from Rob Ostrom on Twitter. Somewhere, Allen Iverson is smiling and feeling completely vindicated. Practice?
We don't need to practice.
Practice, man. What the hell?
And you played football. You were a wrestler. How do you win a game without practicing? I mean, seriously. I mean, you might know your opponent because you face them twice a year, okay? But when you don't have your head coach, you don't have your offensive line, all these other coaches that weren't, how can you win a game, let alone put it away? I mean, sure, you got the turnovers. I mean, it's got to be more than it. The Browns truly did outplay the Steelers.
Yep.
It's hard.
It's amazing to me.
All right, let me get a couple more of these up here. Astrop Kevin, all right, with a couple of messages to us. Shut the haters up, go Browns, put some spec on our names. And I think that's
respect
guy. That's Karma Juju. Yeah. The Browns is the Browns or whatever.
The gray faces, right?
Wouldn't this guy end up being Antonio Brown, Kenny?
I don't know, man. It's just it's that diva receiver mentality.
You remember his rookie year? He rides a bike to practice. He rides a bicycle to the ball games. Everybody loves Juju Schuster. Now all of a sudden he's a second coming of Antonio Brown almost.
Yeah. Who, by the way, scored a touchdown for Tampa Bay yesterday in their win.
Like his roommate.
No more OIC moving forward. Astro, I agree with you, man. Seriously, OIC only in Cleveland. Championship for LeBron and the Cavaliers. Well, with the Indians, don't get me started on Francisco Lindor. I don't want to go there and ruin the show tonight, so that's the last I'm going to say that. But, yeah, I'm with you. No more moving forward. Jim Kincaid wants a little shot at Juju as well. Same old Browns Juju. Yeah, think not. Another shout out here to Matt Velasco. Go Brownies. We've got another new viewer in the playoffs. I'm running the score up, and I will deal with the media afterwards. Hey, in this NFL, guys, tell me if you agree or disagree. In this NFL, you can never have enough points. So, score, you have to.
Any professional sport, Kenny. It's basketball. It's any professional sport. No lead is safe.
I hated when they went into the half with 10 points. I was like, I didn't want them to have any points. I wanted the Browns to hang 100 on them. That to me, I don't want to see a nail biter. I'm sorry. In my frail state, I don't want to. I almost passed out after the second or third touchdown. My kid and I were screaming, and I was screaming so hard, I almost passed out.
The game changes fast. I don't know who won the toss, but when we got the ball to begin the second half, it was it was very clear because you let the Steelers score before the end of the half. You got the ball, you went 3 and out. It was a 10-point swing like that because even though the Browns scored at the end of the first half, when the Steelers, I think they kicked a field goal.
They did, yeah.
So they outscored you immediately 10-0 because you took the ball in the beginning of the second half and did nothing with it. You went 3 and out. You ruined that opportunity. Now, you got to take it for what it's worth. You had such a large lead, and it was going to pretty much take everything they had to get back into the ball game. Whether or not it did or not, bottom line is you end up holding on to win the game anyway. You put it away on a great screen pass to Chubb. He scores the touchdown. It's just, it's one of those wins that are transcendent of a team like the Cleveland Browns that is so hell-bent on changing the culture. And let's hope that this is one of the wins that just catapult this team maybe into the next couple of years. This isn't a fluke like it was in 94. This isn't a fluke like it was in 2002. You made the playoffs and then never sniffed them again for 18 years.
Right.
Let's hope that this really catapults the franchise into winning for a change.
Franchise changing win, right?
That might be it. I hope you're right, Rob.
Yeah, that's good, man. Let's see here. Oh, another one from Rob saying, hey, AFC North, the Browns have arrived. Indeed, they have. Preach, Eddie, from Henrock 1. You got a fan there. What's up, Henrock? Appreciate that. Here's the schedule for next week, guys. Brownies will play Sunday at 3:05 at Kansas City. So
we'll get it in before last call. Thank you, Governor DeWine.
So Saturday, January 16th, it'll be the Rams at the Packers, 4:35, and then the Ravens at the Bills on Saturday. And then Sunday, Browns will play the early game at 3:05. And the late game then, of course, will be Tom Brady against Drew Brees, Bucks and Saints.
That'll be fun.
40. Yeah. Some more shout-outs here. Glenn Gresh. I think Miles is still struggling with the after effects of COVID, and he was doubled and triple teamed all night long.
I'm going to tell you why he's not. I'm going to tell you why he's wrong with that because I've been waiting for this all day.
I disagree with
He
you.
is not suffering from COVID. Otherwise, they would not drop him in coverage. They dropped him in coverage more than they did it last week, and they did it this week. If you're struggling, how can you keep up with a receiver if you can't rush the passer? It doesn't make any sense to me that you're going to drop a guy in coverage if he's hurting that bad. No, sir.
I disagree from this standpoint. I don't think he's back 100%, and he had to play more than he has been playing because Vernon was out. So I think he was just winded, gassed after getting double teamed, and maybe dropping in coverage wore him out as well. Ken Dworzik is one.
That's my point. Don't drop him in coverage.
Well, that's on the coaches then. That's on what's the defensive coach's name?
Alex Woods.
Yeah, Woods. Yeah.
When you drop back,
Or Joe Woods. I'm sorry.
Joe Woods. Tom Cassidy's watching us. Steve Moss, Craig Easterday. Here we go. Let's see what Craig has to say. He checks in with us every week, guys. What an improbable game. As you said, Kenny, the Browns had to be +2 in turnovers. Yeah, if you go back to WHBC.com and look at Kenny's keys to a Browns win, there were 5 of them, and I think they nailed 4 out of the 5 that I posted up there, and that was one of them. I said they had to be a +2 in the turnover category, guys. They were +5, guys. +5. The Browns are now 11-0.
They still had to hang on for dear life.
They won by 20, 11 points. 48-37. Wasn't that the final? I think it was. And that was a garbage touchdown at the end, or it's almost a 20-point win. But turnovers were the key. The offense did the job running and passing. The defense made enough plays to finish the deal. Nothing is ever easy for the Browns, but
never easy.
Fine. Let's see. Jim Cater is watching us. How we doing, Jim? Megan Hurley, long time no hear. Megan, hope things are well with you, dear. She's a huge Browns fan who I've known for years when I was back at WKNR. So thanks for tuning in tonight, Megan. Mark Chalmers, Mayfield played cool as a cucumber on a huge stage. Stop the Baker bashing. Our franchise QB is here, folks.
I don't hear anybody bashing Baker today.
No, not at all. But
great game.
As Eddie was saying, through the year, it was kind of like this, and how many stocks are we buying? And so Kirk Heinzelman is watching us tonight. How we doing, Kirk? Billy Blindstone Jr., I bet the NFL had a camera on Coach Stefanski. There was another tweet I saw. Did you see the one guy that was a Browns fan that was all covered up with the glasses and the bandana and everything? And somebody tweeted they found Kevin Stefanski sitting in the deck. Dude, it was pretty good. John Grzelczyk says the Cleveland Browns are America's team, Kenny. The Kansas City Chiefs are the sheep. Let's see, Tom Cassidy, Ben Robinson, new watcher there. Mike George, John Dorsey must be smiling tonight. Cleveland versus Kansas City in the second round of the playoffs. He helped build Kansas City, and he helped build the Browns. How about that? Got to give Dorsey some love. Granted, Andrew Barry's done a phenomenal job, but Dorsey's put some of these guys in place, right, Ed? We got to give the old man Dorsey.
Treader, J.C. Treader's his guy, yeah?
Yeah, Treader, and he drafted Baker Mayfield. Yeah. He traded for Jarvis Landry, right? So he made some good moves. Not all of them worked out, but he made some good moves.
OBJ.
Brian Gray is watching us. Jim Michael, free curly fries at Arby's tomorrow, thanks to the interceptions.
Really?
Get out to Arby's. Go get your free curly fries tomorrow in Ohio.
I'm flying back.
We have the meats. We have the curly fries.
David Johnson, 2 out of 3 wins this season, 2 in a row against the Steelers. How about that?
That's amazing.
Kevin Crow watching us tonight, staying up late, enjoying this. Leslie Ball, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Pittsburgh.
Good night, Pittsburgh.
And terrible Power is watching us. All right, guys, before we get out of here tonight, final thoughts. Eddie, I'll start with you. Final thoughts on this win, what it means to you, what it means for the Browns, what it means for the city of Cleveland.
I think it's a transformative win. I think it's going to propel them to a 28-24 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City next week.
I like it. Confidence.
To me, again, it's just amazing. You're playing with house money right now. You're at stage 2 of the playoffs. You're on the road. You're at a huge disadvantage. We'll see if we can get comfortable, see if we can get guys back onto the field, especially our coaching staff. It'd be nice to have a practice or two before you have to watch quite possibly a reincarnation of the greatest show on turf in the Kansas City Chiefs, who look like they can score at will, and especially against a defense like this, that an aging Ben Roethlisberger threw for over 500 yards. Sure, he threw the interceptions, but then again, they were forced to throw the whole time. And let's, in closing, hope that this is the first of 2 victories in 24 hours, and hope that these guys get one tomorrow as well. National championship backed up by the first win in Pittsburgh in 17 years. Huge. Yes, there is a Santa Claus.
Think about it. In 2002, what happened? The Browns lost, right, to the Steelers, that comeback with Kelly Holcomb, but the Buckeyes won. The only way to really put the exclamation point on a 24-hour span, like JT said, is to shock Bama and win the whole damn – like Lou Brown said, there's only one thing left to do, win the whole damn thing.
Why not?
Why not? Do it tomorrow night as well. Yeah. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow on the Kenny and JT show between 3 and 7. So, JT, I'll let you go. Enjoy your beverages, get some rest, and see you tomorrow via the internet or however we're doing the show tomorrow, all right?
Leave you this. OH, fellas.
Hi-oh. All right, JT, see you tomorrow.
JT.
My friend, be well out there, and we'll talk again next week on the Browns postgame show, all right, Eddie Mcclintock?
Thank you, Kenny. Have a good week.
Happy New Year, brother.
Go Browns.
There he is, Eddie Mcclintock, checking in with us as he does from Hollywood after every Browns game. Let's get a few more of these questions and comments in here before I say goodnight. Rob McFadden says, pick up that 5th-year option at minimum. Baker is our guy. He's a believer now. Rob's saying that's the guy. Baker Mayfield's the man. I agree with you. Pick up the 5th-year option. And whenever, ASAP. Then you can work out maybe a long-term deal. But, yes, pick up that 5th-year option. Colleen Darlington. Hi, Colleen. The last time my Brownies, I'll scoot up here a little bit. The last time my Brownies won a playoff game, I was 30 years old and my niece was 4. Fast forward today, my niece is now 30 years old. Go Brownies. Rooting from Bruno CZ. What's CZ? Colleen, where's CZ? I don't know what CZ is. That's not a state. Is that out of the country? Probably. I'm guessing it is. Is that Czechoslovakia? CZ? I'm not sure where that's at. Or maybe it's misspelled. I don't know. The most improbable win in a crazy COVID time. Browns wanted it more than the Steelers did. I agree with you there. They out-physicaled them. They out-coached them. They outplayed them. They outscored them. They won the game. They won the game. Joseph Todd. That is Big Eddie. I don't know what you're talking about there, Joseph, but I threw you a little shout out there, even though I have no idea what you're talking about there. Let me check a couple of other Twitter messages here before we sign off. Let me see here. This is from Denny in Green. He says, Roadman, Ben's great run might be over. It is. It is. He's going to the Hall of Fame. All-time leading passer in Steelers history. 13 playoff wins, 2 Super Bowl wins. He's headed to the Hall of Fame. It was a great run. He said he's coming back next year. They may have to bring him back because they don't have a quarterback of the future. That's something they need to address in the offseason. But, the Steelers now are the third best team in the division behind, even though they won the division this year. They were overrated, and we saw that. And if you listened at all to the Kenny and JT show, back when they were 11-0, I predicted they would lose 6 straight, including their playoff game. I was 1 game off on that. They went 1-5. I just saw it coming. The defense not as good, no running game. Ben looked old. So that's that. I did pick them to win tonight. And the only reason I was wrong. I picked the Steelers to win tonight. Had the head coach not come down with COVID and been there and everybody else, I was leaning towards the Browns. But I did pick the Steelers. I give the Browns all the credit in the world, whether Ben's old or not. They went on the road in unbelievable circumstances and found a way to win. Tip of the cap to you right there. Not going to take anything away from the Brownies. They deserved it. The fans, you loyal fans that have been waiting for 25 years for a playoff win. You finally got it tonight. Hopefully you're celebrating safely with family members, and you can enjoy this one. Not only tonight, but tomorrow. You get 24 hours to enjoy it, and then it's on to Kansas City. Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come, going to Kansas City, Kansas City. Yeah, that's where they're headed, man. They're going to take on the Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs. Look at the bottom of the screen. There's your playoff schedule for the divisional playoff games next week. How about this? 1, 2, 3, 4. The Browns are one of 8 teams left playing in the National Football League. When's the last time you could say that? How about that? Next Sunday, January 17th, Browns at Chiefs, 3:05, according to ESPN. That's why I put it up there. Let's give you the final numbers one more time across the bottom of the screen and show you who did what. 48-37, the final. Baker, 263, 3 TDs, no interceptions. Chubb, 76 yards rushing, 69 yards receiving, and a touchdown. Hunt, 48 yards rushing, 2 touchdown runs. Jarvis Landry, huge touchdown early in the game, almost 100 yards. Hoopa. You're going to need a bigger boat. 46 yards and a touchdown. How about that? 0 turnovers for the Browns, 5 for the Steelers, 4 interceptions for Big Ben. What a night. Enjoy it, Browns fans. You've earned this one. Your loyalty is finally starting to pay off. This is a team that's moving in the right direction. They're moving up. The Steelers are moving down. And the Browns, we'll see what they can do next week. Keep your fingers crossed that nobody else comes down with COVID starting tonight and tomorrow, right? And Kevin Stefanski is back, and we'll see what they can do. But regardless of what happens next Sunday against Kansas City, this season, a ginormous success, considering the pandemic, no preseason, and here you are, one of 8 teams left, and you're playing the Super Bowl champs in a playoff game. Remarkable success this year for the Cleveland Browns. All right, that's it for this edition of the Browns Postgame Show. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be on tomorrow night after the Buckeyes Postgame Show here on Facebook and Twitter. So join us as we celebrate the Buckeyes winning a national championship over Alabama. And then next Sunday, after the Chiefs game, we'll do this all over again. Until then, and make sure you tune into the Kenny and JT Show tomorrow, 3 to 7 p.m. But until then, when we meet again on the Browns Postgame Show, please, 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 wear your damn mask, wash your damn hands, social distance, and treat others like you want to be treated. It really is that simple, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy this, Browns fans, and we'll talk next week. See you. Bye.